I'm proud of the group. I really am. It's very rewarding to take a group like this that's all bought in, players and coaches, and see them go out and perform and have a really good team win. We're going to make the most improvement from the first game to the second game, and I got a really good idea right now where we are, offense, defense, and special teams, and so it's a starting point. This is not the end. It's just the beginning of our program, and I'm just really looking forward to getting this film watched and making these corrections so we can get these kids ready to go for next week.
You talked about your quarterback, Steven Montez, tonight. I thought, Phil Rivers early, but I thought he really played a well-rounded game tonight.
Yeah, Steven, he did a good job tonight. He was into it. He was really excited and felt really confident going into the game. When I talked to him last night, we got to the hotel. He says, "Coach, I feel just so prepared. I'm so ready to go." And so, he was able to settle in, and he made some big plays for us. He ran a good show for us, and again, we're not leaving up to one guy. We're able to run the ball, which helps him. We have good play action, and we have several playmakers, tight ends, receivers, running backs that can make plays for him. And so we want to have balance on offense, not just run pass, but also how we distribute the ball with carries and touches and things like that. So it was a starting point.
So that's not a one-play game, but one play that turns at that takeaway right to start the second half, and you guys punch that in. Is big. How big was that?
Yeah, it was huge because we didn't play very well in the first half. We had to make some adjustments at halftime, and we talked about they were going to have the ball to start the second half, which that's huge. And so we talked about execution and takeaways. And we said we're going to go out there. It's going to be a 3-and-out, or it's going to be a takeaway. We're going to change the momentum of this game on the defense side of the ball. And so we were able to get that done, and that's a credit to our players. They didn't flinch. There was never panic or anything like that, even though we weren't playing well at all, and we were really hurting ourselves. The players just continued to play the next play, not looking at the scoreboard, just really focused on performance. And so just that mentality, that mental disposition towards competing and playing the next play really paid off for us tonight.
How exciting and gratifying was it for you to get your first win as a coach and head coach, and to be carrying that trophy around, closing with it and everything else?
Yeah, winning is good. You want to try to stay in the left-hand column as much as possible, and it was very gratifying. And it was not so much for me, but I just really felt good for the team, for the players, and for the coaches. All of the hard work that has been put into it, just really believing in me and our coaching staff and our process, and then to see it. And to see them go out and compete, come out with a win, and it wasn't easy. There was some adversity on both sides of the ball and on special teams, and so it's very gratifying. And I was really proud of our fans. It was a great environment for college football. It was loud. Everyone was into it, and it was an important game. And this team and this football program was important to so many people, and you could feel that leading up to the game. You could feel it tonight, and so it was a win for our coaches, for our players, and for our coaches, but it's also for our fans, our alums, and all of our supporters at CU.
Being a defensive-minded coach, do you look more at the turnovers or the fact that you gave up 500 yards, or how do you balance those two?
Yeah, well, we talk about the turnover ratio, taking care of the ball and taking it away. And if you're +2, you win 70%. If you're +3, you win 80%. You score on defense, you win 90% of the game. So that's a big part of it. Now, obviously, the yardage and some of the plays we gave up, I'm not happy about that. And we'll get those corrected. But I wasn't necessarily surprised at anything that I saw out there tonight. you know, on either side of the ball or on special teams. And I wanted to make sure that that we came in here, got the win, and now we know exactly where we are. We have a really good idea of like where we are as a football team and where we need to go. And so obviously, if we're going to play great defense, you know, we're going to have to play better, and we're going to have to hold people to lower numbers. But takeaways win for you, and we all know that.
When Unruh came into the program, I know you're relying on him or hoping he would stabilize the secondary. Did tonight's performance by him kind of cement that idea?
Yeah, well, you know, he's got experience. You know, he's played in big games, and he's a steadying, you know, force and just a presence in our secondary. He's an older guy who is consistent, and you need to have that in your secondary. You need guys that can make calls, that can settle other people down, and help make adjustments and make plays. And so, obviously, you can see why we made a point to bring him here. You know, he's a good player, and we got good production from him tonight, and you know, I was proud of his effort.
Laviska Shenault made an impact before he even had a touch, drawing two defensive pass interference penalties. You have a guy that can take up that much attention even before he has the ball in his hands. How much does that help your offense?
Yeah, I mean, he's an outstanding player, and I think everyone knows that. And you know, and he's an unselfish player. You know, I just watched him work through the game, and I never saw him frustrated. You know, maybe if he didn't make a big play, but you know, he would block. You know, he would play hard, and then you know, whatever we needed him to do, he would do. And you know, we've talked about this before, is that we have, you know, other guys that can also make plays on offense, and that showed up today. But Visca's going to get targets. He's going to get touches. He's going to make big plays for us. He's going to put pressure on a lot of defenses. You know, because you know, he's such a force, but we also have other guys that can make plays, which makes it harder to defend. Makes us harder to defend.
You said you know exactly where you are now.
Yeah.
The way you played tonight, what is that the football team you want to be? What part of the football team did you see that you want to be, and what part of the football team do you need to see?
For instance, defensively, I felt like they really couldn't run the ball inside on a consistent basis. They hit us with a trap early, and that was pretty much the inside run game. So I feel like we're pretty stout inside. It's our perimeter run forces where we need the most improvement. And I thought that it would be that way going into the game, but it's just solidified in my mind. With that, you know, offensively, we wanted to be able to run the ball when we wanted to and when we needed to, and have balance and get the ball to the players that can make plays, you know, tight ends, receivers, running backs, and not leave it up to one guy, and not ask Steven to do things that he shouldn't have to do all the time. You know, just, you know, run the show, take what they give you, you know, and get the ball to the playmakers. And so, you know, that's where we are on special teams. You know, we got some things we have to clean up, but guys play hard. They're into it. And I think our organization and attention to detail really showed up today, because we didn't have a lot of stupid penalties. You know, we didn't have a lot of, you know, not enough guys on the field, you know, just kind of gaffes and mishaps and things like that you normally see in the first game. It was a relatively clean game in terms of that. But we've got a ways to go before I can say that that's the type of football team that we want to have, and I think that's obvious. But you know, that's why they call us coaches. You know.
You mentioned how much this win meant to your fans.
Mm-hmm.
Go right back into a game where it probably means even more to your fans. Do you, as a coach, do you try to ride that emotion or ignore that emotion, or how do you approach?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, staying focused on the task at hand is very important, because you know, there's so many. We have days and practices and meetings. We have so many moments before we get to that big game that we have to take care of first. But you know, I feel the energy and the passion from our fans and from our alums and from our players, you know, how big this next game is, you know. But you can't get overwhelmed by the moment and the magnitude of a game because they're all big in their own regard, you know. So we'll stick with our process and make sure that our guys will come out, and I expect to see a better football team next week than I saw here tonight.
You know, the burst will be saw from Alex tonight. Is that the type of stuff you've been seeing in practice from him?
Yeah, see it every day, you know, and you know, it's again the way we practice and the pace at which we practice and just the physicality and things like that. So you know if you see it in practice, you know they're going to be able to do it in the game. And so that's why I was just really wanted just to get out there and just finally just play because we've been talking about it so much. And I've been seeing these guys in practice. I know this guy can do that. I know this guy can do this. I know we got players that can make plays. And now I think more people know about these guys.
Is there been a sense of relief for you to have this first one out of the way, but also as a coach be able to see those things now?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't categorize it as relief at all. You know, I really, I'm not a believer in relief because, you know, I talk to players about relief syndrome, you know. And relief syndrome is, you know, I got an A on my first test, I can get an F on my next one and still get a C in the class and I'm good. Because you're so relieved, you know, that you won a game, you know, and that's, relief is not really what we're looking for. That's really not the emotion, that's not the feeling. It's a level of accomplishment, you know, okay, job done, okay, now what's next? You know, so what, now what? And so that's my mindset.
Coach, we see everybody come out with something different, especially on defense. When they make a turnover, Miami started with a turnover chain, and now we're seeing a robe and a punching bag, something like that. Where did that come from?
Yeah, well, it was kind of, I think it was organic, and it kind of came out of our defensive staff room and things like that. You know, my thing was just, are we going to get some takeaways, you know? Because none of that stuff matters if you don't take the ball off of them. And so we were able to get that, and you know, so I think it's fun for the players, you know, and takeaways are so huge in this game. You know, turnover margin is like big, and you saw that tonight, you know, and so it's just something that our players are into, and we'll see where it goes. But that's really not the focus of what we're doing, you know. But it is something that our players they've kind of taken to it, so we'll have a little fun with it.
Before you came in, Mike said the refs might have called that play dead on that fumble there in that scrum. Did you hear a whistle? Did anyone hear what? We can't hear the audio where we are.
Yeah, I didn't hear, and so I'm not sure about that. But you know, it's the game of football. You know, there's always a couple plays in a game that kind of go like that, where, you know, was he down? Was it a fumble? Was it a sack? Or what? You know, it kind of, you know, in football, it can be a very unforgiving game.
Coach, what was your message at halftime to the team?
Excuse me?
What was your message to the team at halftime, only being up 3 points? You know, they came out, gave you their best shot, and you guys, you know, matched the enthusiasm and really shut them down in the second half.
We talked about it's going to be a 4-quarter game. Told the players to expect the game to go down to the last possession, and that we're going to have to play 60 minutes, 4 quarters in this game, and we're going to have to make sure we finish. But I told them that we're built for this because the way we prepare, the way we practice. You know, we're at altitude. We're in great condition. We do a great job in the weight room. We practice hard, you know, and we strain and we fight, and then we create adversity in practice, and then we respond to it. And so it was a work day, and you know, I told the players, you know, before we even went into the game, it's like it's not about looking at the scoreboard, you know, it's about performance and playing the next play. And you know, sometimes getting a win is just not enough. It's just not, you know, we got the win, but that's not the end all be all. It's like we all know that there's things that we have to improve upon and things we have to get straightened out, and we're going to do that. And so that's the message to the team. We're not going to get too high. We're not going to get too low. we're going to be steady and we're going to work and trust the process.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.